So I know I made some questions here. Do- Woof. What kind of dog you got?
I got three English bulldogs,
Ooh.
and they're old, old.
Now one, you could just end up with an English bulldog. Did you get the one and decide, oh my God, I love these, or had you had them before, and
No,
that's your dog
I
breed of
always,
choice?
yeah, I always wanted an English bulldog just because I thought they were the coolest breed, just lazy,
Hmm.
and I always wanted a dog that when somebody comes in, they don't care. Like I don't need a guard dog.
Yeah,
I wanted,
you
a,
are
I
the
don't,
guard
like
dog.
I hated yapping dogs. Someone comes in that they run to them, they jump up on them, they bark or yap and every little noise. I didn't want any of that. And yeah, it was actually after a poker score. I hit a score in a tournament. I told my girlfriend at the time, I was like, I'm gonna get a English bulldog. She was like, oh yeah. She's like, yeah, I always wanted one. Okay. She actually had Chihuahuas, but
Oh my God.
yeah,
Talk
we
about
don't
the
pick
one that
them up.
runs and barks nonstop.
They were the yappers. Yeah. When we went to get my one, I mean, it was literally the first day I looked, the first person I went to, and my wife now, she was like, so we're not getting the first one we see. Don't fall in love. Just we're gonna look around and find the perfect one because we're gonna spend a little money on it. I was like, yeah, okay. So very first one I see, first litter, first one actual dog of the litter I see, I'm like, I want that one. It was what I wanted. It was a white, mostly white, but had like a little brown on the face. And she was the fattest one in her litter. The owner called her Big Bertha. That's what I wanted, a big fat lazy bulldog. I was like, definitely that. I'm taking that white one, but we couldn't have it yet because it was still such a puppy.
Mm.
So we would go back every couple of days just to visit with it. And like the second day we went back, my wife fell in love with another one. She was like, "We got to get her brother because there was a litter of them. They're brothers and sisters." We're like, "Yeah, we're gonna take her brother too." So we got two of them, and then like a year and a half later, we ended up getting another. But yeah, they can add up quick on you.
That they can. And they're beautiful dogs too.
I love their demeanor. They've been. I mean, they're the laziest, do nothingest dogs, which is what I want. I take them outside, they run, they're dead tired in like 5 minutes. They're just completely whooped for the day. You can't even take them on walks. When me and my daughter go driving, she'd have like a little Jeep we got her for Christmas. We go around the neighborhood driving. They can't even follow along with us because it's too much for them. I got to bring them back 15 minutes in because they're panting, dying.
Sounds like me when I go for a walk.
That was me yesterday after
Yeah.
basketball. I played basketball did it first time doing anything since before I went to Vegas in December, and poof, I was hurting.
Yeah, it's actually when I first started trying to lose weight, that described me to a T. Now I can walk a few miles. I've never been a basketball person, but we were already walking a lot, walking around the neighborhoods a lot, and then now that we live down here in Orlando, we go to Disney and Universal parks a lot, so
Yeah,
that's a
that'll do it.
lot of walking.
I love every time we go to Disney, I make sure to take my iWatch to see how much, how many calories,
Yeah,
how many active calories I burn because you just go all day.
yeah. I don't even pay attention to calories anymore. It's just the walking and stuff like that. How many steps I took, and can we do more? Keep pushing it. So, um, so poker. I looked you up. Please don't ever look me up on Hand and Mob because it's abysmal. Uh, Hand and Mob didn't exist. The last time I was winning decent sized tournaments. So my stats on here suck. Back
Work
in
in
the
progress. In
early
progress.
2000s, well, see, the late 2000s, I should say, '06, '07, '08. I was winning a lot at the Hollywood in Aurora, Illinois,
Okay.
before they started opening up all the poker rooms.
I need to work.
Um, So, but the first tournament I won was uh, well, yeah, $150 and this is at the Best Bet or the Hollywood Aurora. $150 tournament every Wednesday morning, and they had to shut down several banks of slot machines. So they wanted this tournament to end quickly. So it's a 20-minute turbo um, tournament, but we get 500 in chips. They wanted this thing done and over as quick as possible so that they can get the slot machines back on because that's where they made their money. But I mean, I took that thing down just left and right. So that was fun stuff. So they're missing here on the Hendon Mob. They're missing a, WSOP circuit event in uh, Tunica,
Oh
Tunica,
yeah.
Mississippi. Went to a circuit event there. I think '09, '08,
I'm
'09, something like that.
sure there was a ton of stuff from back in the day because it was relying on the place to send it in, so they weren't getting a lot, I'm sure.
Yeah. So yeah, my stats are horrible. You currently on here uh showing total live earnings 979,411. Best live cash 53,520, which beats mine by far, my biggest hit. And all-time money list 2,889th, which is still outstanding.
I'll take it.
So yeah. So is that correct as far as your biggest hit? I know I've seen you
Oh yeah.
at
Yeah,
Best Bet have some big ones.
no, that's my biggest.
Okay.
That was this summer. I actually like it's for as long as I've been playing and as much as I've been playing, for that to be my biggest, I think it's like an anomaly. Like you don't see a lot of people with that much money in earnings with a low high score like that. Which I mean, honestly, it's something to be proud of because I haven't ran the greatest and the biggest spots, but I've been very consistent. Like no matter what. So
Extremely consistent
and
is a word I
something
would
like
use.
that, one day, literally one day can change. Like
Hmm.
you hit a big one for 300K, and it doesn't matter that second one was 50. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it makes up for so much. I think I'm due. Like I have my big one's coming. It's on the way.
I have faith that I will see your name, see you there with some WSOP rings and or a bracelet or two at some point.
It's the plan.
So you're definitely someone I watch and study when I see you playing for sure.
Appreciate
So,
that.
um, so let's see. I know I created some questions, and I apologize, to everybody who listens to this or watches it on YouTube. These first episodes are probably going to comparatively suck, and it's not going to be because of the guests. The guests, I'm going to do my best to always have really good people, as guests. But as I learn, I mean, I know poker, but as I get comfortable with interviewing people for poker, I've gotten comfortable with it with my other podcast, and those episodes are awesome. But we're also 450 in on those. So this is honestly the first official interview for Poker Talk podcast.
Oh,
So
yeah,
career
awesome.
path.
Yeah,
Say,
fine. We'll be fine.
yeah, it'll be great. So and these questions will probably change over time as people look at me and go, "Why are you asking me that?" So, but career path. What transitioned you into professional poker, and do you consider yourself a pro poker player? And what was is this was this your aspiration growing up, or did it just kind of trip into it?
I would say growing up, I wanted to play sports. Like when I was younger, like 10, 12, I played a lot of baseball. So I thought maybe I'd play baseball, and then once I got in high school age, I grew to be a giant, so football just kind of took over, and I thought I would go play college football and then easily get drafted into the pros and have a nice little NFL career, and I just thought that was going to happen from just because I was me. So I did go to college because I was me, but Didn't make it out of college. Didn't get drafted. Played college football. Had too much fun in college. Didn't actually graduate. Um, so then I was just kind of stuck here at home with nothing to do. I did work like security, like at clubs and stuff, like nightclubs, as a job. So I haven't had like many jobs, but so poker was an easy play during the day, do security at night type thing. And that around that time I was like 21. Best bet or not? I don't even think they called it best bet. It was the poker room in St. John's opened up. So I just played a lot of poker, and then like that got me into home games because you could only play for it was only limit at the room, but I met people that had home games that had bigger games. So I kind of just started playing a lot of I mean I was really a cash game home game player for years before any tournaments. And yeah, I would say I've always wanted to be some kind of entrepreneur. Like I don't I like working by myself, not necessarily by myself, but I like being in control. And I probably have a little bit of an issue with authority when I'm not in control, which doesn't lend itself to the workforce, right? So my dad's always been an entrepreneur since I was young. Him and my grandpa opened up their own paint contracting company, and my dad still owns and runs it to this day. So I've always had entrepreneurship blood, and poker was just perfect for that. And I definitely wouldn't say I've been a professional poker player that whole time. I've been a poker player that whole time, and I've been a profitable poker player that whole time. But as far as enough to make it, I mean, I don't know. I had other streams of income. Like I would run games. I dealt at some games. No like job, no actual job in life, really. I mean, I worked for my dad's company a little bit, but yeah, no, the poker has been able to keep me going this whole time, but it hasn't been the way I would have written it up. Like I would say, like maybe the past couple of years, I've actually been a pro poker player, but all before that, I was a jobless poker player. Like but yeah, so that's pretty much got me into poker. And honestly, for me, I mean, knock on wood, it's the most amazing thing that what you can't do anything else like this. You can't just go gamble on something that you have a skill at with anything. Like, the world's best. I got a buddy who's like top 10 in the world in cribbage, and it means who cares? It means nothing. Like he plays like $100 games for $100, $20, and you can't find them. Like people won't play him. That's because like he's got the biggest skill, and everyone knows it, and they just won't do it. Like you can't just go play Kevin Durant in basketball. Yeah, you just wouldn't do it. But anyone can, in poker, like puts up there's stakes all the way from low to high. It's a wild world. And as soon as I found out about it, I had to be in it. I literally have never left.
Yeah, love it.
Yeah, I love it. I don't really recommend it, but for me, I kind of owe everything to it. I met my wife at a poker table. Like
Sweet.
so it's
I,
it's
I I'm equally blessed, and and it's the fact that you've got a wife and you still do what you do means your wife fully supports it,
oh man.
and that's a blessing that I've also got. My wife is very supportive of the entrepreneurial side. She knew before we went on our first date that I'd been fired from every and any job I'd ever had, and that still holds true to this day. If I'm not working for myself, I'm in deep doo doo. Um, and she fully supports the poker as long as I'm somewhat consistent. Even break even, she
Yeah,
doesn't mind because she knows I'm getting better.
just don't do
But
us.
yeah, just don't lose. Bet the house or anything like that. So
Yeah,
yeah,
my wife has been
absolute blessing.
everything for me too. I mean, a lot of those jobless poker years, I wouldn't have made it through without her. So
Yeah,
she's my number one supporter, and through that now, like my daughter's my number one supporter because she sees how her mom treats it. So yeah, very lucky. I'm very very lucky.
definitely, most definitely. Um, So what's on your path for this year? Actually, let's take a step back. Tell us about your last year. And we were talking earlier, and you mentioned you had your biggest win to date this past year. Um, what was that, and how did that? What was that event, and where was that? And then, what is your your forward trajectory or plans, or just show up and play whatever seems to fit.
Yeah, well, I'll start off saying just generally, I'm probably the least organized professional poker player, and I kind of like it. I like it that way. Like I purposely don't fill my head with too much stuff. Like I don't, I like I tell my wife all the time, like, listen, man, I'm a slow thinker. I don't know what that means in the grand scheme of things, but I'm a slow thinker and I take things very slow, one at a time. And I'm very good at compartmentalizing, putting things off of me. Like I don't need to care about that. It's not information I need. It's literally wasting space, you know. So I'm able to push things out. So that I'm kind of the same when it comes to poker. So don't really have a like super grand plan. And never really have. But I will say my plan, like last year coming into this year, I had really buckled down on studying. At some point over the past like 2 or 3 years, I really made the realization that you gotta study and you gotta study hard and like I kind of went from using a natural ability, you know, and just like going in there and doing well, always winning, like I said, profiting, but not how I wanted. I wanted to crush and be able to travel anywhere I wanted and go play bigger buy-ins, but never had it. But had seen some people that I knew, friends, do it. You know, so like, well, how they doing it? Like my buddy David Jackson. We played the same tournaments. He lived here in Jacksonville. We played the same tournaments, and he has like skyrocketed to buy-ins way above my average buy-in, and he's doing, you know, he's one of the best players. Really, he's one of the best players for his buy-in range in the world, and he's got like over 3 million, 4 million in earnings now. He's killing the game. Uh, and if you were to ask me why that is, I would say, well, David Jackson's worked harder than any other man in poker. Like that's just I knew that then, and somehow didn't do it. Didn't put the correlation together. But I did, you know, a couple few years back, and then really have been putting the work in, studying. And now, honestly, I can say now I don't know anybody that works as hard as me. Um, and it hasn't always been that way in life. Like I said, I didn't work hard when I played football. I relied on natural talent. I didn't work hard at my first marriage, which failed miserably. You know,
Me
uh,
too.
uh, uh, kind of a running theme in my life has just been like thinking I could just get by on how I naturally reacted, which is so silly. Like, no, that's not how things work. You have to put thought and effort. You have to be considerate, and you know, things take work. Things take effort. You know, if you want something good out of something, it's going to be difficult and challenging. So you can't just, oh yeah, the way I naturally do it's the best. You know, like that's just massive egomaniac type stuff. But so I was there, but I was able to shake all that and kind of lose my ego, understand I wasn't as good as poker as I thought, and if I wanted to get to where I got, I was going to have to work, which was something I was avoiding. Just period, like you know, a job. I never wanted a job, so like I was kind of avoiding work my whole life, thinking, oh, I'm just going to outsmart these people my whole life without ever having to like look into this silly strategy game. And you know that so it doesn't work that way. But you know, put in the hard work and seen the results. Like last year was my best year, and it's no doubt I studied way more than ever last year. You know, I study every single day. I study, you know, hours every single day. You know, there's probably not an hour goes by where I'm not getting a text from somebody about something to do with poker. Whether that be like a student or I'm in several just group chats with different players, online crushers that I'm aspiring to be, and live players that are aspiring to be me. Like, you know, and everyone in between. So I'm, you know, the hard work is really what's been paying off, and there's no way around that. But so with the hard work, I just put anytime I'd have a score, I just kind of use that to go up. I haven't been trying to be too chintzy with the buy-ins because I just kind of I just kind of want to not really run it up, but I think my edge, the more and more I study, the bigger the edge gets, and I just want to play. And so far, I've put a lot of money back into it, and was able to have my best year because I was playing bigger buy-in than average, and I've been cashing at a silly rate, really. Like probably I don't know if it's going to continue or if that's how things are now, but last year was just really like I played two 10Ks and probably three 5Ks, and that's really big for me. I don't play 10Ks. I played the main event, and then I played the WPT main event, and I played some of these Hard Rock 5Ks, and I cashed in every single one. Like that's an
Impressive.
anomaly, like because when you don't cash in a 10K, that hurts when you're a
Yeah.
1K when you're a 1K average. But I was able to cash in every one. No big cashes, but not they weren't 10K losses, which is huge. And then my biggest score was at the Venetian this summer. I went to Vegas for probably 2 months, and you know played near. I mean, I took some days off, but played most days, and I think the Venetian was like a 1,700 multi-day. I got third for 53,000. That was the
Impressive.
big score, and that was like the first week I was there, which was beautiful because it's just now,
Paid for the vacation.
yeah, not
Paid
gonna
for the trip.
lose. Knowing you're not gonna lose and not gonna have a down 30K summer is nice, because you don't know.
Most definitely. So you're primarily your preferred style of poker then is primarily tournament style as opposed to live cash tables.
Yeah, I play pretty much only tournaments nowadays. Which I used to be only cash player, and I used to like scoff at people when they called me a tournament player. I was like, I'm not a tournament player. But that's completely flipped. And here recently, like just in the past few months, I've been playing more online. Playing online. Period. I didn't play for a long time, and honestly, that has my full attention right now because playing from home is the dream. I mean, honestly, making money while you're sleeping is the dream. But if you're not making money while you're sleeping, if you can make money while at home, next best thing. You know what I mean? So if I could somehow figure out how to like do online what I've been able to do live, I would instantly play way much more online. Like ideally, perfect world, I'd like to play online, high stakes Sundays, um, and then like play big main events. Like when I travel, like not really wouldn't mess around with two, 300s, 500s. I just play like big, like $1,700 circuit main events and MSPT 1100 main events, and then of course go out to Vegas.
Sounds like the dream.
Well,
Yeah.
it is the dream, but we gotta get through this cheating. It's like not only do I have to
Yeah.
be able to work my skill level to that, which is going to be very, very difficult because online is a much different game. But now you're gonna have to do that while there's like rampant cheating going on. So we'll see.
Yeah, definitely. So, let me ask, what's keeping you in Jacksonville or Florida in specific, waiting for better online opportunities as opposed to moving someplace like New Jersey? Okay, well, that's an easy answer. But okay, so let's think Vegas or something
Well,
like that. And this is more so a scoff at the weather in New Jersey and the fact that it's just so packed, the houses are hyper expensive. So it's not a dig at New Jersey per se. It's just it's cold. We're in
I,
Florida right now, so just
I
please
get it.
don't get offended, people.
I would,
It's cold and expensive.
I wouldn't pick Jersey. Wouldn't be on my top five of places, but I've been campaigning to get out of here for years now, a couple years at least. My wife, like, it's really like we ain't leaving yet. No, whatever she says, get out of here. She
That's how I got to Orlando. When my wife decided it was time to move, that's how
yeah,
we moved.
my daughter's 6. She just started kindergarten, and she has a like I don't know. We got a really good group of people around around my daughter and my wife, like her best friend. Her best friend is my daughter's pre-K teacher. Like they just like
Mm.
struck up this super good relationship. And she also has some great friends here. So she doesn't want to leave that yet. And I just told her, let me know. Honestly, when we do leave here, it's going to be to the mountains somewhere. So somewhere with mountains, whether they have online poker or not. I mean, there's going to be some online poker, but really that's more of the scenery from my porch is going to be more of a dictator of where I go than anything else.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Lived in Gatlinburg for a while, right on the edge of the Great Smoky Mountain National Park.
Love
Like
Gatlinburg.
literally, we looked off our back deck. There was a golf course there, and you keep looking across, and the road ran along the edge of the park.
Yeah,
So
well,
it
that's nice
I
mountain.
I do miss the view, but I don't miss, I mean, admittedly, I live in a tourist town now too. But it was much worse because there were three roads in and out of Gatlinburg, and
Oh yeah, and they're packed
uh,
all the time.
yeah, the downs, but pre 9/11, it was a fall tourist area. Post 9/11, America realized that 80% of the US population lived within an 8-hour drive. So they all started going there year round.
Yeah,
So it's
yeah, we
crazy.
we go there too. We go up to Cherokee and we take the little hours drive to get the Pigeon Forge and Gatlinburg. Love it up
Yep,
there.
definitely. So let's see, technology, has technology impacted, what you kind of did touch on? You'd love to be able to play online all the time, but what and I'll flip this kind of into the next question, and next couple of questions. Is there any software tools you're using to study? Do you consider yourself a GTO player, or what is your playing style?
Yeah, I'm using.
And favorite books, learning method, it all kind
Well,
of hand in
when I
hand.
when I when I reference studying, it's usually always some kind of solver work. So yeah, I'm very GTO driven. I mean, that's all I study. Now that being said, uh, that doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to play what I think is the most GTO strategy because understanding GTO allows you to exploit more. So I mean, I'm not a robot trying to do what the solver says, but I do want to understand why the solver is doing what it's doing and understand how that differs from what I may have done in the past. So yeah, I'm using a lot of different technology right now, and honestly, if you're not, you're falling way behind.
Mm.
If there was one piece of advice I would give anyone that wants to do this for a living, or not even for a living, if you want to like consistently make some money at this, even like a nice little side income, if you're not studying solver work, I don't know what you're doing. Like you're not taking it as serious as you should be, and honestly, you're probably just it's probably your reasoning for not doing it is a defense mechanism to not do the work. Like that's the friends I tell my friends that I was like, yeah, like you don't want to do it. Well, I play 2-5 cash. Like, why would I? Who cares? Okay, yeah, like you don't want to work hard. I get it. Yeah, when you want to work hard, go study, and you'll understand more. That's you're trying to avoid it, and you think that you're fine with beating it the way you're beating it right now. That's fine. You don't really want to get better and improve. You don't want to put the work in. You want to say it. If you want it, you really got to put in the solver work. You got to understand why solvers are doing what they're doing. So I mean, it just broadens your game miles and miles. Like right now, you're closing your eyes, bluffing, and hoping that it works. When you understand why a solver is doing it and using the hands that it's doing it, now you understand. Oh, I'm gaining more percent for all of my bluffs. Like they're no longer wishes and hopes. That they're doing it with
Mhm.
me. I have thoughtful reasoning behind it. So I mean, it just that's gonna change everything. And once you put some serious work into it, the edges in any game, tournaments, cash, low stakes, high stakes, it's going to be massive. It's going to be massive.
So, and what is, and being guilty of a lot of what you just said, following my gut, and while it's a large gut, it still isn't always right. What is your solver of choice, or what is, where how are you studying that? Like,
Well, I would
if I
say,
wanted to start off, or one of our
yeah,
listeners wanted to
this
start
is
off.
what I tell, my friends and the people that ask me, what to do. It's like, listen, this it don't even take that much money. Uh, First of all, you have to play online. Period. I don't care if you're playing $1 average buy-in, which is fine. Like when I started playing online, I was playing $1,000 tournaments live and $11 tournaments online, and I wouldn't go higher because I just wanted to learn. It had nothing to do with the money. I wasn't gonna. Why would I knew I was gonna be my absolute worst. I was gonna lose for a shit ton, for a lot of games. Uh, so why would I play? Why would I play anything? Like I was using it just as a learning tool. So I wanted to be as cheap as possible. I was playing $11 tournaments, and if like my shark scope graph, like you can look at it, it's down for like 200 games. So the first 200 tournaments, almost straight down, very little. I mean, it's a terrible graph. And then I started winning, and so okay, now I'm good enough to where I can beat $11 games, and I'm beating them pretty good. Now I can act. Now I'm making my decisions off profit instead of learning, right? Because like before, it's just learning. So what you do is you start playing online. You buy Poker Tracker. Like you can put $50 on. You get ACR, put $50 on ACR. You buy Poker Tracker 4, Hold'em, the Hold'em, edition or variant or whatever. I'm not sure what that runs right now. I think it might be a yearly or a bi-monthly subscription or something. But anyhow, whatever it is, you pay for it because that tracks every single hand you play, and you need that. That's exactly what you need. So you get your Poker Tracker 4, put some money on ACR, and probably go get like GTO Wizard or Odin. There's probably a handful of these solvers out that they're all going to be fine. I use GTO Wizard. It's the like the market standard right now, so it's the best. It's the best as far as quickness, speed, and how many pre-solves they have in there. Um, and then you just record your hands, and as you play each session, you got a couple. And I wouldn't play one table. Like you gotta get in hands. So really, you gotta also you gotta work your skill as far as how many tables you can play. I wouldn't play on a laptop. I wouldn't play on one of them little pads where you got to use your finger because I mean, it's so slow. I'd get
Yeah.
a nice mouse and a big monitor, and I'd try to play at least 3 tables at a time, and I'd work my way to 4, 5, 6. All the while, anytime you have a decision you're unsure of, you go to your poker tracker and you look at the hand because all the hands are listed as you play them. If it was pocket eights, like okay, let me just go look pocket eights. You can just right click it and review later. So now you're making a list of hands you get to review later. You play your session. Whatever happens, happens. You make all your plays. You tag a bunch of hands. When you're done, now you instead of just being done for the night, now you look at those tagged hands. You go to your GTO wizard. Any spots that are able to look up, because not every spot is able to look up, but any spots that are able to look up, you look it up. You see what the solver would like to do, and you kind of look at the whole range, not just the hand that you had, but you kind of look at the whole range, understand why it's doing what it's doing, and then do the next hand. Like the more and more you put that together, it creates muscle memory, and then you get to apply it to the game. It's like that's precisely how you get better. That's
Yeah.
with Poker Tracker. Once you've recorded 20, 30,000 hands, you can go to somebody, get you a coach, pay them, however much they charge you to look at your database, and they can tell you, here's your massive leaks. I can look at your database and be like, okay, well, here's where you're inefficient. You're losing 60 big blinds per 100 from the big blind. We need to get that number down to 35. You're opening 42% from the button. I need you to pump that to 55%. Okay, you're folding these hands. I need you to put these hands in range. You're C betting multi-way 80%, that's way too high. Like whatever it is. Like I don't even have to see you play a hand, and I'll know exactly where your leaks are, right?
Yeah.
Just by looking at a database. And the more hands you have in your database, the better off you're going to be. So that's literally that's how you get better at poker. Period. These days, play online, record your hands, go back studying them, and also track your database.
Thank you. And I've looked, for everybody listening or watching, there will be links to these in the show notes below. I've looked up Poker Tracker, and you're right. The pricing for the online light is $4.99, standard $9.99, pro stars only. I imagine that means Poker Stars only. Is $9.99 or $19.99 for the unlimited. So they've got, better prices if you pay annually, of course. GTO Wizard, I don't see where they're if they have pricing on here or not. Um, just sign up, get solutions for free. Start practicing for free. So I imagine there's a fee there, but most definitely worth it. And I recall talking to you 2 years, I think it was a year and a half, 2 years ago, and you're like, start, tracking your hands. And and you suggesting do this online makes so much more sense, because it is a pain in the butt to sit there and write everything down or type.
Yeah.
I've got fat thumbs. Even with a poker keyboard that I added, it was still a pain in the butt trying to keep track. What did he have chips wise and stuff? And just I'm already three hands later, and it's
I
just
have
frustrating.
I have literally hundreds of notes on like documents on notes on my phone,
Yeah,
like of a day of a tournament. I literally
yeah.
used to, and I got the fastest thumbs in the West. I'm talking. I never found anyone that could record a live hand history faster and as efficient as I am. Right? Everyone else, like whatever it was, I was good at that, and still hated it.
Yep.
Still hated it. Still found myself missing action in the hand afterward. Right, like just being too concerned with getting that note through and not being
Uh-huh.
100% present right there. So if you just do that online, like because now I don't do that at all. My buddies even tell me, "You're gonna send us some hands? Like you used to send us, I would send 30 hands every session." Sure, like almost every VPIP, like open cutoff, big blind folded. And I would send it, just whatever. Like I would just it'd be in there. And now I don't send anything. And and it's because why would I send hands here? I play all my hands online. Like you guys, like we got all that database to look at. Like I have different like another great tool for getting better. Or actually, I guess my second most piece of crucial advice, aside from the must be the poker tracker and the GTO wizard and such, is really community. Find yourself. I mean, I guess that's what like listening to podcasts and talking to people like that is kind of doing. But yeah, you gotta find yourself a community of really try to find better players, but at least like-minded players to get better and find and sometimes it's not even the best player that's gonna be valuable. Sometimes it's gonna be somebody who's just a disciplined worker who's going to be like, "Come on, man, let's Zoom for an hour." Like, let's look at this spot, or just over and over text me this, text me that, and just making me look at my phone and then look at all these spots daily. It's like even if they're not kind of like contributing to as far as like, no, you got to play it like this. The fact that I'm going over their stuff and looking at all these spots and they're sending, hey, look at this neat thing I saw, or can you believe the solver is using this here? Like they're making me better, right? Like so
Mhm.
they don't have to better me. You find some people that are willing to work hard, you're gonna see everyone's results do better. So that's one thing that I've done. I would say the first half of my career, the people I were discussing poker with were not helping at all. They were hurting. Like they were my going out every night beer drinking buddies, right? So we were more concerned with that than working hard and making money at poker. Um, but now I have people that it's like their objective is to profit more, potentially turn it into a full-time thing. They're hard workers. They've already made it in other industries, like successful people in life that all lend to keeping me on task myself. So really find yourself a good community, and people come, people go, which has in mind too. But once you find some good staples, like it's insanely valuable. And even like the networking that comes even afterward, like, you know, I- I've been the type of player my whole career that has always been willing to discuss poker with anyone. Like if I thought you were half good, pretty good, not even like better than me good, but if I thought you were like one of the better players in the field, like at best bet, I've asked you, let's talk hands. And literally,
Hmm.
I've probably asked, 25 different people throughout my time here, and I can't think of one that has kept up. Like the people I have now, I guess, um, I guess you could say they have, but it wasn't necessarily me reaching out to them saying, "Hey, you want to talk hands?" But really, all them, all the good players that I've talked to, maybe they show interest for like a text conversation and then literally just evaporate. It's not in there, which I always found that I have no, even if you don't think like it's not like this ego thing where like, why would I talk hands with you? I'm better than you. It's like, even if you think you're better than me, you're still going to like gain some value understanding what I
Hmm.
think. It's like, first of all, I'm beating the fields. So like there's something to be said for what I'm doing. Like at least, even like it'd be so, oh, I'm not doing like if it's one thing out of 10. It's like there's value, there's lots of value
Yeah,
no matter what.
definitely.
Yeah, I've just been turned down for that from everyone forever, which I've just found
Yeah,
amazing.
I've had similar experience.
But
And,
it's
and you talk about community, you bring it up, and that eliminated one of my latter questions. So thank you very much. You are a great mind reader, which I think also goes to your poker skill. You read people's minds a lot, or at least it looks like it. Probably just the experience, but when I did my
I think
best,
the human behavior
yeah,
aspect for sure. Like, and there's
w
a lot of deception, like kind of manipulation with poker to
yeah,
get people to do things because of how you did something. Yeah.
definitely. Well, yeah, when I was on, that early really solid streak that I was mentioning up in Chicago land earlier. I had that. I had an amazing community of a lot of them were very entrepreneurial, but they were all diehard poker degens. Several of them had home games. There was one that every UFC event there was, his entire basement was turned into a poker room. He had six tables set up down there. His wife played just as much as he did. I mean, Joe had amazing tournaments, and the neighborhood knew, yeah, he was always park on one side of the roads, be respectful of my neighbors, because if they complain, I won't be able to do this anymore. So we all did our best to be respectful of neighbors. But oh my God, some of the games down there, and five, six, seven, table, tournaments, and start off as a tournament, and as tables got, players got knocked out, he'd balance it out and start the cash game, and just crazy stuff. But we were also the same people that we saw at all the local surrounding tournaments. Yeah, when the WSOP was in town at one of the casinos down in Indiana, or over in Mississippi, or up in wherever we were going, MSPT, if it was all the same people that I was seeing there. So that was one of the things I missed when I moved to
Nice when you have
Florida.
a
And you
guy.
said it. I've not found that. There's so many people that just, you said it. If you're not in their core little group of people, they don't seem to want to share. Maybe I chose to be closed off and never really managed to click with them. So I have to look at
Yeah,
it from my point of view.
honestly, it
What
could
did
be
I do wrong potentially?
it could be just a fear of like it could be a self-confidence in them thing too. It's not always, oh, they don't want to talk to you about it. It's like they're not confident enough to talk to anybody, like widely about what
Possible,
they think. You know what I mean? Like,
plausible,
yeah, it's not, I don't think it's always, and I know with myself I can be uh, you know, brash, I guess, or like I could see how like people could just instantly be like, well, I don't really want to talk hands with you because you're when I I don't really sugarcoat things. I'll say, well, that's bad, like, and
uh,
I understand that about myself, but that's also like the guys that do stick around are the best because we're no nonsense. We don't care. There's no feelings. There's no emotion. I'm not sugarcoating anything. If I do something bad, I want you to tell me it's bad. Like I have coaches that I pay too. Like I have subscriptions and coaches, and I have guys that I send my online hands to, and he goes over them, and he's like, "This is not a play." He's like, "Every winner online is shoving this hand, and you just limped with it, right?" Like that's the stuff I need to hear. That's what hits my
Yeah,
ears, and it's like, so now I'm never limping that hand again because I just heard from it. Every winner online shoves it. So like that's like for me,
yeah,
that's how I get better. But I also grew up in sports where like tough kind of no nonsense is more, you
yeah.
know,
Definitely not like they get now. Everybody gets a trophy.
right. So
We grew up with you want a
there's
trophy, earn
probably a
it.
little bit of that with people that rejected me, like so
Yeah,
I get that too.
yeah. I am not a pat you on the back and coddle you and tell you it will be okay. And I don't even do that with my children. I'll pat them on the back and point out, let's try harder the next time on whatever it is, and you can get through this.
I mean,
And they,
I'm trying to. I have a buddy that is like It feels like he's a politician with how good his work he is with his words. Where somebody says something and I'm like, that's fucking stupid. Let's not think like that anymore. He's like, I see your point there, and like in this scenario that does make sense, but when I look at it like this, he's just so good at somehow not making you feel like an idiot. Where my go-to is like, no, you need to feel dumb here so you don't do it again. I mean, there's a fine line, and especially
yeah.
with my kids, like I've tried to be softer in that sense.
Well, believe me, I'm hyper supportive. I mean, to the degree that I now have a 10-year-old who does YouTube live videos to tell people when he's going to be live on Twitch, Twitch streaming his gameplay, and
Yeah,
vice versa. He'll go out on his Twitch channel that he started, once again, 10, and letting everybody know when he's going to be live streaming on YouTube. And I mean, he's putting in the study time, and he sees what I do. And
yeah, I
the
love
you know
that.
the older two, they've got their their strengths also, but my 10-year-old is the utmost like me already. Die hard into the gaming. He's going to be a poker player when he grows up. I just absolutely know it. I can see it in his actions, and he'll
Yeah,
stand
you can see it
right
too.
over here and watch me when I do play online sometimes. And well, why did you do that? What's the purpose? And yes, I
Win
will
right.
sit there and happily explain. Oh, well, that sucked. You lost that hand. Yeah, and believe me, I'm going to take a lot of everything you've shared in this podcast to heart. I spoke with you, like I said previously, and you're like, start recording your hands. And I obviously didn't want to really grow yet at that point because I kind of stopped. And then I saw Mark go sit and play. He went, made it to the final table in a tournament that they televised. And he's like, so I gave him the video. That's where
Yeah,
he started. So it's like, so then my goal is, okay, well, let's get on the final table again and get it recorded. And I haven't pulled that off, but I can just go sit and play cash. I just got to drive up there
you
for
can
one of these.
you could play a session online. You could put 300 hands in online
Yeah,
tonight and have over an hour's worth of study session
yeah,
content tomorrow.
yeah.
You know,
Believe me, I
that's how
will be
quick
doing that.
that's how quick it is for anybody. I
Yeah.
mean, like
So what do you see as the future of poker? Like where do you see it going, both online and it's been growing. Where do you see it going?
this is one of them things where I don't really care to have an opinion. Like I don't know. I don't want to waste brain power.
Fair
I don't.
enough.
I, I'm gonna keep playing it for as long as they let me, or at least as long as I want. If I were to say something, it'd be meaningless. I'm nobody. I know nothing. You know what I mean. My opinion literally means nothing. So I'm not even going to form one. I
Hey,
hope it.
I appreciate it.
I love the fact that we're in this boom right now. I do appreciate that, and I understand that, and I'm gonna try to take advantage of this boom more efficiently than I did the ones in the past because I
Yeah.
didn't. or I didn't as much as as much as I could have, and
Yeah.
I understand we're in a boom right now, and I'm gonna try to take full advantage of that, and I have been. But as far as how long it lasts, where it goes, where online goes, I'm hopeful for online just because I think that there's so many people that play it, and there's so much money to be made from a legitimate company that can get it right, that somebody's going to figure it out. I think, hopeful for that. Some of that could just be pure, literally hope because I really need it. Like that's where ideally, like I said, my perfect life 10 years from now, not even like what my perfect life is. I'm sitting up in the mountains with a beautiful mountain view on my back porch with a giant curved 49-inch monitor playing like 16 tables of online poker, and that's all I do. Like and well, and I travel to like big mains,
Yeah.
go to the World Series, play like Cherokee, Maine, when it comes stuff like that. Like that perfect world, that's where I want to be. So I really hope the online
I
can
love your perfect world.
figure
I would
itself.
stay near the water. I would get back near the preferably the Gulf. Yeah, but I'm not as deep into the mountains.
Yeah.
But other than that, I agree 100%.
Hey, when I thought I was going to be in Jacksonville, it was always on the water, like that it was that dream, but on the
Yeah,
on the river somewhere. But yeah, now I just would love to be up in the mountains.
can't blame you. Can't blame you.
But yeah, so I mean,
Most definitely.
hope it continues. It's not like it's like I think it's never ending. It could, the online could really affect live is probably
Yeah,
where the live could get hurt the most is if the online doesn't figure itself out because we need people to be able to play for really cheap, and there is no really cheap. Even 1-2 is not really cheap. At a casino, we need people to be able to learn the game, like super cheap without losing grocery money.
yeah,
Uh, and
for
that's
sure.
online. That's online. They can do it from their home. They can do it for free. A lot of times, like they can do it for super low stakes, and they don't feel they can wait until they feel comfortable enough to go into the local casino. So
For sure.
hopefully it gets.
So, are there any podcasts you listen to or authors that you follow? Nowadays, a lot of the authors are also doing podcasts. So,
Yeah,
who do you
yeah.
follow? Who are you choosing to learn from beyond the GTO?
I would say poker podcasts. Uh, I don't really have any regular poker podcasts. Not to say that I haven't through my whole poker process, but a lot of life podcasts. I mean, I listen to Joe Rogan, Tim Ferriss, really kind of just like optimal life strategy
Hmm.
pods. Not really any like I don't listen to like finance pods or real estate or any kind of like niche, but just like the more advanced. I love books on tape. I like to go running in the uh, little trail by my house here and just put on a book on tape. I'll say this: the number one piece of content available for anyone's ears in the history of content is this book, right, called Awareness. Um, and I would recommend listening to it rather than reading it because it's a bunch of seminars that I'm drawing a blank on his name right now. It's an old Indian man, but to me that's the Bible. I'm not religious. I mean, I understand the importance of the Bible to religious people, and to me, the book Awareness is my Bible, and I think it would change anyone's life if they actually listen to it, and certainly changed my life. And I live by its kind of credence every day. Nothing really matters. That's there's that's kind of the big thing. Is like once you're hyper aware of everything, nothing really matters. Well, you understand what you are in this whole the grand scheme of thing, and it's silly. Like you to have emotions about anything is really kind of silly. If it ain't death or health, what are we doing? You know?
Yeah.
So, like that book kind of changed my life. I mean, I got tons of others, but really kind of just like the self-help, life, deep stuff. I like getting real deep. I like being trying, introspective, and I'm very hard on myself. I like to feel guilty. I like to find things that I'm doing wrong because I'm real. Like I said, like I'm a good compartmentalizer. When I find out I'm doing something wrong, the same way with poker, like if you can show me this is wrong, this is right, I'll do the right thing. Like I got to see it, and I'm the same way in life. If I find out I'm making some incorrect decisions and can be shown that this other way is correct, I'll do that. Like, and I'll stay on that.
Ditto.
Like I'm pretty disciplined. Like I said, and like I'm I'm able to do that because I don't have a million things going on in my head. Like I said, I keep it very slow and simple in my head. So like when a big thing is like you got to change this, I'll just change it. So I'm always looking for any kind of content that can improve me. Self improvement every day for the rest of my life. You're never going to get to where you want to be, and there's always work to be done. So
It's about
really,
the journey.
yeah, that's like all the content. I mean, I have like some I don't know, guilty pleasures. I guess I like murder. I watch murder interrogations, but
Okay.
that's more like of a human behavioral. I like to analyze how this guy's lying, and then also how the detective's trying to get what he wants out of the guy. So I mean, that's probably more strategy than guilty pleasure. But yeah, I like
Makes
to learn.
sense.
I like to learn from whatever I'm watching. I don't watch a lot of comedies because I think it's kind of empty. If I do watch a comedy, it's going to be a stand up, like a really good stand up, because like I think there's strategy in stand up, and you can kind of see how a guy's work in the room, which
Mm.
is maybe the same for a comedy show, but I don't really mess with too much comedy shows or movies because it's empty time.
Yeah.
I'm trying to multitask everything I do. So even if I'm sitting down watching a show, which is, like the least thing I do in life, I still try to learn something from it. Even like the reality shows my wife has me watch, all of them are human behavior experiments that are just fascinating. If you can get past, the stupid silliness of whatever, but really understand like this is a human in the world, and they think this is how they're supposed to be acting, and there's cameras on them, and blah blah. Like, really helps you understand the average person, which is great in my line of work because that's who I'm. I'm dealing
Yeah,
with
very
thousands
much
of
so.
thousands of different people every year, and
Yeah.
I gotta kind of understand how they think a little bit so I can outthink them. You know?
Great experience. I chalk things up to, I listen to and I try to look for what people are doing. And yeah, and I appreciate the experience. I'm not a fan for advice. It A lot of people give advice that they're not actually doing. So I appreciate you sharing. This is what I'm doing. If you want what I've got, and I've said this for years, I stopped drinking decades ago. Yeah, literally, coming up on a third decade now. And I quite often share. If you want what I've got, the results that I'm getting, do what I'm doing. Plain and simple. It's no guarantee that you're going to get everything that I've got or the results that I got, but it's definitely going to be better in most cases.
And that's what like
Yeah.
this is what I did. This is what was successful. That's what I know. That's what I can speak on. Like,
And that's what worked for me. It was doing what people who, had the time did before me. This is working for you. Okay. Well, and I tried. And like you, I had to prove it first. I had to, okay, well, I'm going to try and do this my own way with this little piece of this person, this little piece of what they said. And it would fail miserably, and they'd be sitting there waiting for me to come back, and they'd just laugh. How'd that work out? How'd that go?
yeah.
Well, your way works. Well, no, actually, it doesn't. Okay, well, then here's what worked for me. So yeah, I truly appreciate your experience, and I mean, you've knocked out already every question I had. So um, yeah, any other final thoughts or comments?
Uh, pleasure to be on. I appreciate you having me.
Dude, it's me who owes you. You're literally, honestly, the first official guest of the Poker Talk podcast. Hopefully it kicks it off to amazing heights. I would appreciate any introductions that you may have. Like I would love to talk with where did I put? I looked him up. David Jackson. You're talking about you're friends with. That's I've always been my best successes came from who I knew, not what I knew.
Yeah.
If you
Oh yeah.
know if you know a little, that's great. You can know a lot and still not go far. When you know people who know people that I started a trade show from nothing, and turned it into a huge success starting the first year, and it doubled year after year, with a good friend up in Chicago, and it was because of who we knew. So yeah, I would really appreciate any introductions, and we'll
Yeah.
see where we can take this thing. I
I'll
want to
text
learn
you,
from it.
and really anyone that, if I think they may add some value to your pod, I'll check with you first. But yeah, also I'll recommend that as well. This is the first pod I've done. I've always asked my friends. I've always had a lot to say on a lot.
Yeah,
So, but I've actually you know looked forward to being able to uh, just kind of discuss my ideas on everything for a while now. So appreciate
yeah.
the
You're,
yeah.
you're you're welcome back anytime if you've got something you want to talk about. Whether you want it public or you just want to chat. I'm there, and I'm going to take to heart your suggestion of taking it online and recording the hands with Poker Tracker, and I'll throw it into GTO Wizard and see if it makes any sense, and I'll reach out and go help.
Listen,
And
please
then
do another thing. But the third, I mean, this goes along really with that second, that number two piece of advice. But don't be afraid to use your resources. Like I got a lot of friends that play poker that don't talk to me about poker, and to me, it's like what? I don't understand. I'm willing and like happy to discuss poker with anyone. Like within reason. Like I'm not going to be sitting here talking about like the most mundane thing daily, but even like even just the like super simple things, I'm happy to be like, oh, here's this. Like yesterday, I had a buddy literally text me and said, "What does CO mean?" And I'm like, "Yeah, that's cutoff." Like, he just didn't know that. He didn't know
but hey, you
position.
got to learn.
Right, but I'm
The
saying
only
if you
dumb question is the one you don't ask.
yeah, if you have a resource, use them. Like
Yeah.
use them until they tell you, "I'm tired of you using me." Right? Like honestly, like that's how I feel. Like okay, I'm gonna get everything I can out of you. You got stuff that I want to know. Tell me, like use it. I don't really like have this whole shyness. Like I don't want to bother. Like no, I want to get better. Let me know when that time frame fits you. I'll be available. Boom.
Hmm.
And honestly, people respect that. Like just like I said, like I want to be around workers, not necessarily great poker players or better poker players than me. I want very hardworking, disciplined, focused people around me. Like and
Yeah.
that's what someone is who is using the resources that they have.
Challenge accepted.
Yeah, yeah. Like, again, yeah. Feel free. Any
Yeah,
any
yeah. And anytime I've reached out to you about it, you've always, gotten back to me, which has always been appreciated. So challenge accepted.
good. Glad to hear it.
So with that, I will stop the recording. And I never actually said this. Thank you everybody for being here. This is the Poker Talk podcast with Frank Spalding. My guest today, Eddy Mroczkowski. Did I pronounce that correctly?
I don't know how you did, but you did. Yeah, well done.
I've heard it plenty of times.
Well played, sir.
And I've always one of the weird, strange gifts. I've generally been pretty good at uh, strange, different names. And I grew up with, I'm assuming Ukrainian,
Polish.
Polish. Okay, my wife's Polish, so I grew up with a lot of Polish, a lot of Ukrainian people, and almost always there were skis.
Oh yeah,
Within a lot, so you get used to it after a while.
yeah.
So
This one's tough. That's even for the most even for hearing it, it's tough. You look at that, it's hard to pronounce. It took me a while.
yeah.
It was my name.
Yeah, I heard a lot of the I've seen you on several of the videos for Best Bet, and they were always pronouncing it, or when you were guest hosting, with them, they'd always, and we have, Eddy Mroczkowski here, and so it just, fairly easy to hear it enough times.
Yeah, yeah. It's once you know it, it's not hard. But when you're looking at it right here, Mroczk, that don't sound like something you should be able to say.
Yeah, it is what it is. I truly appreciate you being on, and
Let me know whenever you put it
definitely
out.
look forward to the next.
I'll put it on my social media and try to get you as many clicks and views as I can.
It will be up within the next few days. We're hitting the parks later on today. Now that it's finally stopped raining, so I'll probably edit it tomorrow or Monday and get it pushed out, and trying to get a few more. Got upcoming on the 17th. Uh, Bill Henry, I think it is, owns the Florida Poker Players Group on Facebook,
Okay.
and he's a longtime experienced dealer. And then Tim, I can't think of his last name at the moment, used to deal over there at Best Bet, deep into horse racing. Also, he's also dealt for years.
Tim Fredericks.
Yeah, Fredericks. Yeah, Tim Fredericks. He was my neighbor for most of the time I lived in Jacksonville.
Nice. Okay.
Waiting for him to pick a date. So, but I mean, there's video of him dealing WSOP and WPT events on YouTube. So final tables and stuff like that. So he dealt professionally good 20, 30 years, I think it was.
Yeah, I like it. I'll be on the lookout to listen to him too.
Yeah, definitely. So appreciate you once again, and I'm gonna go ahead and hit the stop.